Hi, we've talked about Candida yeast, what causes it, what really drives a variety of health issues, namely the toxic waste that is expelled by Candida yeast fungus. Now I want to talk about the 4 things that people attempt in order to try to control their Candida yeast issues. Now these 4 ways are not necessarily the best ways that we've come in contact with, but I thought we should discuss them anyway. The first is the true Candida yeast diet. If anybody's come in contact with that diet or have actually tried that diet, it's a diet that they would never ever forget. It's essentially a prison diet, but without the bread. You're trying to eliminate all carbohydrates, so your meals are essentially some sort of low-fat meat with green vegetables. Out of dealing with 16,000 people, I could count on one hand the number of people that I know about that have actually done that diet for more than a couple of weeks at a time. It is a very strict diet, and consequently it doesn't seem to be very successful because most people cannot adhere to it. And if they can't adhere to it, then their Candida yeast problem is not probably going to be kept under control for too awfully long. Number 2 would be prescription antifungal drugs. We have a lot of people that try those, and in the short term they seem to have a limited amount of success. The problem is, and I certainly suggest this, if you go on the internet and you search some of the various names of the prominent antifungals and you look what the side effects are, you'll find out that many of these do seem to put pressure on the other internal organs. See, these antifungals are absorbed into the bloodstream, they circulate the body looking for fungus, and they go about eradicating it. The trouble is that these are kind of thinking of them as sort of like weed killers. So these weed killers go through and they can put a certain amount of stress on the liver and kidneys. I had somebody here just a couple of weeks ago call me up and said, Mike, you know, I've been taking this prescription antifungal and my liver actually feels like it's burning up. So that's one potential problem with prescription antifungals. The other problem with them is that it does appear that Candida yeast does have a certain amount of ability to mutate, rendering one antifungal incapable of doing what it's supposed to do. Quite often what somebody will do, they'll take one antifungal for a couple of weeks or a month, they'll get their situation beaten down to a certain extent, then they have another Candida yeast overgrowth problem, they'll take it again and it doesn't work as well. They will then have to try a different antifungal. So that's potentially a problem of the prescription antifungals. The third area would be your natural antifungals, things like grapeseed extract, oil of oregano, coconut oil, garlic. These are all products that can have a limited amount of success helping combat a Candida yeast overgrowth, but again, you could run into the same situation as with the prescription antifungals. Again, these are circulating the body, putting some undue stress on the other internal organs, and that's not necessarily a good thing. The fourth area would be most types of probiotics. And what's a probiotic? A probiotic is a dietary supplement that contains actual live bacteria. You take a capsule or a packet, the bacteria travels down through your digestive tract into your intestinal tract, and it helps repopulate the intestinal tract with good bacteria. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think probiotics are good as far as helping you maintain good intestinal health. But unless you get the right probiotic that has the right strains of bacteria, then these bacteria aren't quite as aggressive towards Candida yeast fungus. So you really do need to be taking the right probiotics, and there are only a couple out there that we know about that really seem to do a good job on Candida yeast issues.